Hello, this is Mark with American Rescue Concepts. Hey, so we're going to talk a little bit about use and operation when you're working with ARC and doing monitoring. The what I'm running into, there's a couple of things. We have two different kinds of meters. We have the Quattro, which is the passive meter or the diffusion type meter, and we have the Gas Alert Max XT2, which is a pump driven. The pump driven meters are awesome for operating outside the space, right? Because we can before breaking the plane monitor the atmosphere in these spaces, and with the addition of some sampling tube, we can reach out and get some monitor readings down in those spaces. Keep in mind that with these pump meters, and when you're using this sampling tube, it takes about 1 second per foot for the gas to get from the atmosphere, to get from the probe at the end, 1 second per foot for all that line. So you got to wait about 20 seconds to 30 seconds before that sample reaches this meter and gives you a reading. It's just a basic way to operate. What we're finding is that in some of these in these water lines or other projects where there's high humidity, these Gas Alert Max XT2s it's a little bit problematic. We're getting a buildup of condensation in the sampling tubes, and eventually to the filter that's on the back of the meter itself, and the moisture is occluding the filter, and it's giving us pump errors. So be aware if you have an issue with this meter. Check your tube. If you see condensation in your tube, it's probably clogged your filter on the back of the meter. There are spares in the boxes. I prefer to change those myself rather than do it in the field. In the field, just go grab another meter, put this one out of service, and we'll deal with it. To clear these sample tubes, we've been taking the ends off, taking this end off with the filter, putting it in the tip of an SCBA cylinder, and blowing that humidity or moisture out of the tube, and it's working pretty well for us. If you're going to have to send this meter into a space, a pump-driven meter into a space, BW provides an extra external filter, right? And this filter clips onto where the sample tube clips onto. And I'll try to bring it up here close, but you'll see that it has a design that it's a push and twist. So you push it on, get it lined up, push it on, and twist it, and it locks that little external filter on. And it was helping us a little bit with those moisture problems. To alleviate this issue altogether, I'm suggesting that when working water lines, either our rescuer that's inside, or if we're loaning these to our contractors, give them a passive or diffusion type of meter, because we're not having any problems with humidity in these meters other than being dropped into water. That never works well. So if we're going into these lines, let's make sure that the people going in are using the passive meters. While we're outside monitoring at the entry point, let's make sure that we have a pump-driven meter in place. The second thing I'd like to talk about in these meters is you guys will notice here that these are rechargeable, right? So at the end of a work cycle, we bring them back to the shop and we get them cleaned up, and we plug them in and recharge them for the next time. I'm going to get it up close for you. This is the recharging point right here. This one is in good shape. It's a little plastic clip that slides in here and makes contact with these two contact points. You'll notice that this one is nice and clean. All the edges along it are straight, right? If you look at the comparison, this one's been all munched up, and what I was seeing is at the tripod, we'll set these meters, we'll get them plugged, we'll get them turned on, calibrated, bumped prior to use. We'll put the sample tube on it, we drop it in the hole after measuring the entry point, and then we clip it on the ground. Inadvertently, there's people stepping on these meters, and when they apply pressure to the meter, it's crushing the little plastic piece, and I'm having difficulty getting these ones that are damaged charged. So to alleviate that, what we've started to do is we put these Gas Alert Max XT2s in a radio case, right? And this radio case, it makes it a little less convenient for reading it because you got to look around the strap, but it's still very legible. You can get in there and read it, and it gives us an attachment point with the clips to clip it to a tripod or to keep it off of the ground so people aren't stepping on them. So people, please use these pouches with the pump-driven meters. Keep them elevated so we're not stepping on them and jacking them up. If you have to send, recapping, if you have to send a pump-driven meter into a space with, for whatever, a rescuer or a one of the contractors, make sure that you have the external filter, right? They're in the cases or in the kits. And then also, if you have a humidity issue with your sampling tubing, pull the tip off, blow the sample tubing out with the SCBA cylinder, and then reattach the sample filter. Don't mess with this. Just pull it out of service, turn it off, and we'll take care of the filter on the back of the machine when we get back to the shop. So external meters for metering outside and continuous monitoring. Internal meters for going inside the spaces. Cool. Help me save some money, and hopefully I'll give you a raise one day. See ya.